Senator Max Baucus was serving coffee, donuts, and sandwiches to customers walking in. Baucus told me that one of the reasons he came out to Wheat, Montana is to listen and talk with folks directly about concerns, particularly about cuts scheduled to take effect March 1st. Baucus told me one of the reasons he came out to Wheat, Montana is to listen and talk with folks directly about those concerns. He says 1 in 5 Montana jobs rely on agriculture, and the industry generated $2.6 billion on nearly 30,000 farms and ranches.
It's interesting, about 1 out of 5 Montana jobs is related to agriculture in our state one way or another. So I really do what I can to promote agriculture production, whether it's wheat, barley or livestock, and Wheat, Montana sure represents agriculture in Montana. So that's here to kind of just show how much I care for agriculture.
I also asked Senator Baucus how he was preparing for the 2014 elections. One challenger, Republican Corey Stapleton, has already declared he's going to run for the seat. Baucus told me Montana has always had a great system, and he's confident Montanans will elect the right person for the job. Live in the newsroom tonight, I'm Eric Turcio, NBC Montana. Solar physicists at Montana State University tell me the meteor that exploded over Russia could have been worse. I sat down with Professor Charles Kenkelborg of the Solar Science Department at MSU to help explain what exactly happened over Russia today.
And generally, when a fairly large one like this comes in, it tends to airburst. That is, it blows up in the sky and you have fragments coming down.
Kenkelborg tells me meteors can be made of various metals like iron and nickel, and other materials like stone. He says once an object in space enters the Earth's atmosphere, it's called a meteor.
A meteor is a piece of space debris entering Earth's atmosphere and makes a bright streak in the sky. And then if there are fragments that land on the ground, we call those meteorites.
He explained to me that objects from space fall into our atmosphere and hit Earth every day, and that it's difficult for scientists, even at NASA, to track these types of events.
We see space stuff falling on us all the time, really. There's always just dust coming down.
Kenkelborg told me the Northwest had a close encounter with a meteor back in 1972, when one zipped across the sky in a giant fireball.
Visible from Montana. But it was a bright fireball in the sky. Apparently that one lost a bit of material to Earth's atmosphere.
An encounter Kenkelborg says Montanans will probably remember. We've been chatting throughout the day on Facebook and Twitter with folks who remember seeing the 1972 fireball. We'd like to hear more of your stories. Just log on to NBCMontana.com or head to our Facebook page to share them with us. In the newsroom, I'm Eric Turcio, NBC Montana. I spoke directly to United States Postal Service spokesman Pete Nowacki, who told me growth in the U.S. Postal Service package shipping directly led to the decision to lift the freeze and add more workers. Nowacki credited online ordering for the 9% increase in package shipments over the past few years, and retiring employees have allowed them to hire more entry-level positions like assistant letter carriers and cutting overtime. He couldn't tell me exactly how many jobs would come to Montana, but says the job postings will go up across the state. I stopped a woman walking out of the post office on Babcock Street here in Bozeman and asked what she thought.
We're looking at hiring about 100 plus of these city carrier assistants, and when these postings go up next week, there will be postings for 21 cities, different cities in Montana.
I think it's great. Any new jobs, I think, is a good idea.
Now, these jobs pay well for Montana, $15 an hour with vacation and the opportunity to enroll in health benefits in the future. Nowacki tells me the positions will be posted by February 4th to the 10th. If you're interested in applying, just go to our website, NBCMontana.com, and there you'll find the link to career applications. Live in the Bozeman newsroom tonight, I'm Eric Turcio, NBC Montana. Well, it's good news for students at MSU studying or considering studying engineering. Professors tell me that their students are getting these good-paying jobs right after college. They put the average starting salary for their graduates between $60,000 to $70,000. They credit student successes to motivation and programs designed to prepare students for life after college. Bob McCalla is a professor of civil engineering. He explained to me why engineering graduates are in demand even in the tough economy.
But even when the economy had its downturn in the last few years, we still saw a fairly steady demand. The rate of the number of employers coming here slowed down, but most students who desired a position in their field were able to find that. And I think that's partly because we fill a niche that's always going to be in demand.
Now, I checked with several engineering students on campus who tell me that they already have jobs lined up after graduation. Many said that they were offered jobs before their internships ended. Live in the Bozeman newsroom tonight, I'm Eric Turcio, NBC Montana. Summit Air Ambulance is the medical helicopter serving the Gallatin County. When search and rescue needs a spotter from above, they call Summit.
We can transport rapidly the most critically injured patients and the patients who are medically unstable.
Summit played an instrumental role this past weekend, guiding searchers on the ground to 2 skiers that were missing outside of Bridger Bowl.
When a first responder requests us, we ask for some very specific criteria, and one of that is GPS points.
That's because many times they're headed over remote Montana wilderness or into higher elevations where mountains terrain and weather can make for rough conditions.
Weather can be a significant factor and is definitely a factor this time of year. It's something we look at very closely.
I flew with them over the area outside of Bridger Bowl where the 2 skiers were missing on Saturday. I could feel the wind shaking the helicopter as we passed over the area. Summit Air Ambulance officials tell me that this helicopter can respond to a call in just 7 minutes. From there, they can take a patient to any local hospital. Bill Norton is the chief nurse on board the chopper. Back on the ground, he showed me some of the medical equipment they carry on board. He tells me they're equipped and staffed to stabilize almost any patient.
So it's either the heart monitor, defibrillator, we have a ventilator, and we have medications in this bag as well that can pretty much take care of most anything we encounter.
The helicopter carries at least 4 staff members on board when responding to emergencies. In Bozeman, I'm Eric Turcio, NBC Montana.
He brought my wife and kids back because he didn't think I was going to make it.
Jim Case almost didn't survive his heart attack.
He said, we've got his heart started 3 times and it's quit every time.
Doctors had to shock his body 11 times, and it took bringing his body to freezing temperatures to save his life.
Luckily for me, Dr. Slocum showed up then, and he asked my wife and kids what they wanted him to do, and they said, well, you got to try.
He told me his heart attack started the night before, and that he didn't even know what was happening.
I was having a pain in my arm, and I'd had it earlier, and I thought it was maybe a pulled muscle.
I went over to Bozeman Deaconess Hospital and talked with cardiologist Blair Erb to learn more.
Tends to radiate. In other words, it may go up into the throat or the jaws or out into the shoulders or arms, either shoulder or arm. It's not just the left arm.
According to the Centers for Disease Control, heart disease accounts for 1 in 4 deaths in the United States every year. Dr. Erb explained a heart attack is caused when the blood supply to the heart muscles is interrupted, and what you can do to prevent heart disease.
It's not just taking pills. A lot of the ills that we bring upon ourselves have to do with lifestyle.
Dr. Erb says some of these ways to modify your lifestyle is to exercise more, eat healthier, and cut back on smoking if you're a smoker. He also says that when your body is giving off these pains in your head, neck, and shoulders, to take them seriously.
I asked him, I said, well, I'd like to come in every year and do a stress test to see how I'm doing. And he said, won't do any good, Jim, because you got that one bad artery, and he says it's going to show up every time.
In Bozeman, I'm Eric Turcio, NBC Montana. While some areas of the economy are struggling, holidays like Valentine's Day are boosting sales for some small businesses.
We're about at 50 orders right now for Thursday. We're hoping to be closer to 400.
Langor's Flowerland on South 19th is stocking up on extra roses. Jennifer Darr, the shop's new owner, says with Valentine's Day just around the corner, orders will be flying in the door. And they're busy trimming stems and prepping arrangements to make sure things go smoothly. Jennifer says that when her flowers are delivered to her florist, they come right back here in her warehouse, where they are then processed, cut, and fed lots of water to be sold up front. She said the most commonly sold rose is the red rose, but says folks are choosing roses like these as well.
People will do a mixture too and have, a yellow and a pink and a white and a red and kind of a splash of color.
I was curious how chocolate stores were handling the pressure of Valentine's Day. I went over to La Chatelaine Chocolat on West Main Street. There, the owners are working overtime, mixing homemade chocolate and putting on the final touches.
We're working a lot more, of course. We don't take a break.
They took me in the back to show me how these French chocolates are made. They produce thousands of individual pieces a week and planning to sell double this week.
14,000, 15,000, that's what we're shooting for.
A goal this chocolate shop says they will achieve by Valentine's Day. In Bozeman, I'm Eric Turcio, NBC Montana. Doug Beyer lives in Belgrade and is the owner of a German Shepherd that went missing after he broke off his leash. When Beyer's dog didn't return, his first thoughts were that his neighbor, David Wendell, took him.
We really feel the dog is over there and we feel that he's going to kill him.
Beyer told me he has a long history with Wendell, and according to court records, tensions between Beyer and Wendell came to head in 2010 when Wendell fired a shotgun at him.
And I proceeded to watch him take a shotgun and point it at me.
He also says Wendell's tried to poison other dogs in the neighborhood before.
Mr. Wendell has been known to have pans of antifreeze and use antifreeze to kill dogs in the past.
According to court documents, police found paw prints in the snow that led them to the defendant's home right here on Rocky Mountain Road in Belgrade. They say when they found the dog, he was in a small workshop where it was only 20 degrees. The dog was caged and had no water. Beyer says he has noticed a change in Token's behavior since he got him back home.
He's very anxious and he's very, he doesn't want to go into confined spaces at all.
Beyer says animal control warned him to watch his dog closely and keep Token away from Wendell's property. In Bozeman, I'm Eric Turcio, NBC Montana.